Hello, welcome. Today I want to continue reading from the Sermon on the Mount from this very excellent English translation of the Caboras manuscript, which was written in a Syriac language, the language that Jesus spoke. So let's continue. We're reading in Matthew chapter 5, verse 31. It has been said that whoever would sever the ties with his wife must give her a letter of divorce. But I say unto you that whoever severs the ties with his wife, except for her wilful wantonness, causes her to become adulteress, and he who takes one so left commits adultery. Okay, let's stop at that point. I was going to read more, but let's just stop right there. You see, men, would you mind if I just addressed men for just a moment? Your job as the husband, first of all, I'm going to say this, and I know some of you won't like it. It's a hard teaching. And I'm not being rigid about it, and I'm not forming any judgments, okay? I'm just saying that you should get married and not just live together. And the reason why, men, you should marry your wife, marry your fiancée, is because it's a question of honor. See? It's a question of commitment. I know some of you will say, well, I can be committed without a formal piece of paper. Well, you know, it means something. A formal piece of paper means something, and it means something to her. And the fact that you don't want to sign it, regardless of all the excuses you make, and regardless of whether she agrees with you or not, deep down in her heart, she knows that you're not 100% committed. It's a question of honor. See? There are some things that are a question of honor, doing one's duty. See? And one of them, for the man, for the husband, is to be a man of honor. And so therefore, you should get married. Now the other thing is, let's talk about divorce. I know that many of you have been divorced. But the idea is that, you see, marriage was not meant to be a pleasure party. Marriage was not meant to get your needs met. Marriage is what? It's a framework. Okay, first of all, it's to bring children in. It's to bring children into the world. And it's a framework within which to work out the old issues between men and women, to work them out in a framework that's ordained by God. Okay, it's an institution ordained by God. So then you have His blessing. You get married. See, it brings a blessing. It brings a blessing. Okay? Now, when you're married, now what? You have to learn to be unselfish. That's what marriage is for. See, life is a school. In case you didn't know, life is a school where you, as a little child, you grow up, and as a little child, you just run and play and learn and discover. That's all that's required. And then when you become a young person, well, then you're basically a big ego, okay? Which is okay, because that's the way we are. We grow from little egos to big egos, and we're a little bit selfish and so on, okay? But then, you know, you learn a trade, you find a line of work, you start a business, you become established, and you get married and you have children, okay? And then in the marriage framework, you learn to be unselfish. Before you were married, you could still be selfish. But once you're married, now is your time to become unselfish, to learn to be unselfish, and to develop character. See, that's all you have. When you leave this world, at the very end, see, the very last breath that you take, the very last breath that you take, you are the sum total of everything that's gone before, of all you've done. And if you have character and you are obedient to and what is good, and you love what is good, and you serve what is good at the last moment, then you step across. See, the body is like a bridge. You step across to eternity. But if at that last moment you are resentful, see, or should temptation come along and you respond again to temptation, to lies and excuses and rationale and justifications, and see, then, if you have developed no character. See, if along the way you need character, what, to resist the appeals that will be made. See, the more character you have, the more virtue you have, the less you are amenable to any of these appeals. A man of character, they're nothing to him. All these appeals, drinking and gambling and smoking marijuana and carousing and cheating on your wife, and these various things, and then of course ambition, pride, see, making material things too important, all of that stuff. They have no appeal to a man of character. See, well, and life is a process of becoming, of gaining character, of growing, of maturing. See, you don't suddenly become perfect, but it's a process of perfecting. Christ said, "Be perfect, even as your heavenly Father is perfect." That's what he said. Okay. So, marriage is to develop character, to learn to be unselfish. And so, of course, if the lady takes off with another man, there's not much you can do about it. See, if you happen to marry someone who hates men and hates you, see, and is determined to ruin your life, and see, well, but if she's just a regular lady, see, even as you are just a regular man, if she's just a regular lady, then your job is to be there. See, to always be there. And when there are storms, then you just sit in the living room. You don't go anywhere. If she asks you to leave, you just stay in the living room and watch TV or read a book. Okay? And then when the storm is over, then everyone is glad that you were steadfast and remained calm. See? You don't leave. You don't walk out. See? And you do your duty. Now, does she give you a hard time? Well, that's her job. See? You have to look at it. You have to look at it from a perspective of, let's say, a plumber. He has to deal with the pipes and the conditions that he encounters. But all they do is see if he encounters some issues that other people are scratching their head, they don't know what to do, but as a good plumber, he knows how to solve it. See, the problem, he grows through his problem. See, the cowboy, he has to rope the cattle. See, and they give him a hard time sometimes, or a horse has to be broken. Okay, they give him a hard time, but it only makes him a better cowboy. It makes him stronger. See, and he grows. Okay, so, gentlemen, you have been selfish. You probably married your wife for the wrong reasons. See, you married her for egotistical reasons. She supported your ego. Okay, and then you were selfish, and then she did a lot of nice things for you, but you took advantage. You may have felt guilty over it and then brought flowers and chocolate and everything because you felt guilty, but see, nevertheless, you took advantage, and then you noticed that as she did, the more she did for you, the less character you had. You became weak. Okay? It's not her fault. See? So your job then is first of all to accept her gracious helpfulness to you, and to be grateful for it, and not to take advantage. Okay? And to use whatever help she gives you as a helpmate. so that you have more time to work, to build your business, see, to do important things. And whatever trouble she gives you, all it does is it helps you to learn patience, to become more patient, more long-suffering. The more unreasonable she is, the more reasonable you become. See? The more emotional she is, the more calm you become. See? And remember, Christ said to overcome evil with good. Well, I'm not saying your wife is evil, but I'm saying that whatever is naughty, and the children, there's another good example. Children will be naughty. All people will be naughty. You have been naughty. See? But the only thing is, a man, now that you're a man, you can't look to other people to correct your naughtiness. You have to be self-correcting. You have to be self-correcting. And the way you do that is by getting in touch with your intuition from God, your conscience. Okay? And looking to it, first, last, and always. Okay? And doing what you know is right in your heart. And then see your mistake, see your error, see your impatience, see your selfishness. Okay? And yearn with all your heart not to be selfish, knowing that you can't make yourself unselfish, you see? But your silent cry to God is answered. He gives you light. First light so you can see your error, and so you can repent, you can be sorry for what you see, and so you can realize in the light that you can't make yourself better. And you cry out to God, and then one day you wake up and you're not as selfish anymore. You're less selfish. And then less selfish, and less selfish. And then one day you're not selfish at all. So it's a process of perfecting. It's not going to happen overnight. Don't hold your breath. But see, as you grow in character and begin to correct yourself, then you, as the father, as husband, father, you're the leader you're the Moses of your family. They look to you to be the leader. See? And they want you to be the leader. They want Dad to be good and strong and noble and brave and patient. And they want him to be there for them. They want you to be there for them. Okay? That's what they want. Deep down in their heart. They may complain, Dad, can I go out with these other kids until midnight? No. Oh, Dad, everybody else is. No. Sorry. Because you see that it's not wise. Oh, Dad, everybody else is going. No, I'm sorry. Oh, Dad, you're just so mean. See? But you know what? And you weren't angry. You just clearly saw it wasn't a good idea. Deep down in their heart, they're glad. They're glad that, see, they're not strong enough to correct themselves yet. See? So they need a little help. So you correct them with patience, with a twinkle in your eye. Not with anger, not being rigid, but with a twinkle in your eye. And all these little issues, you always have your intuition. You look to your intuition. So you can have the right touch. Because you'll know the right touch of giving and withholding, what to say and what not to say. Sometimes you say nothing, you see. It's a process of learning. And as you learn from the light, you grow, see, in character. And they grow, and they respect you more and more, and may love you. See? And if she gives you a hard time, well, you deserve a hard time because you were selfish. And undoubtedly her father wasn't there for her, and other men have taken advantage. So, let her give you a hard time. Okay? You can take it. Let her come up against you. See, with anger that she's harboring probably toward her dad and other men that took advantage. But instead of resenting her, see, which is a form of use, for taking advantage, instead you're just calm and strong and patient. Okay? And let patience have its perfect work. I think it was Peter or James that said something like that. Okay? So now you see why you can't divorce. Now obviously if she, let's say you're a decent guy. That's what the whole basis of all of this is. You're a decent guy. Okay? So you're a decent guy, and for some reason she's determined to get a divorce. Well, then let her file for divorce. But don't you be the one to file for divorce. See? Don't you be the one to move out or file for divorce. You just go about your business, do your work, come home, sit in the living room, their kids, you're there for them. See? And then if she goes off and files for divorce, well, it's a free country. See? But even there, you still hope there can be reconciliation. See? I once read the most beautiful story. It's in my book. It's in one of my articles. It's in my book, The Myths and Mysteries of Marriage. And I heard it on the radio. I heard the man talking. It was some kind of an interview show. And he was talking about how much he loved his father. And he said that when he was a boy, and his sister, and I don't know how many brothers and sisters he had, but at least there was a couple of them, maybe more. He said his mother was just a terrible person. Terrible person. She did awful things, and she gave him a very hard time. Just made his life totally miserable. Okay? But you know what? But you know, he said he never complained. He was always there. Okay? Chin up, twinkle in his eye. He was there for the children. So she gave him a hard time for years. Okay, so what? You know what that led to? They saw her give him a hard time. They saw him be patient, never becoming resentful, never becoming angry. See? Never threatening to leave, never leaving, always there. And they respected him so much. And they loved him. See? Little kids can see. They can see. They saw what was going on. They loved him and respected him so much. See? That's a beautiful story. Really, really was I'll never forget. Okay? So there you have it. Okay? So we'll stop at that point. That was only one verse from the Sermon on the Mount, but that's enough. So hopefully you'll see me watch the next video I make about the Sermon on the Mount, Lord willing, of course.